I thought this was a very interesting question because people know that you'd friends would be on. Have you ever? My friend would be on. Have you ever met Andrew Tate's father? And what was he like?
Wow. It's a very good question. I was lucky enough to meet Emory Tate a handful of times. I think I met him a couple of times when he came to visit in England, when I think he came to watch Andrew fight once and met him then. I had a few conversations with Emory, and I'll be honest, every conversation I had with that man, my mind was blown just due to the pure vocab that the man possessed. He'd twist you up with his words. He had some great stories, some great life stories, and he was a very interesting, articulate man. And I genuinely believe a lot of the traits that Andrew and Tristan have come from Emory. But yeah, he was actually a very kind man, and me and Emory, we had a good laugh. So.
That's very interesting because I remember him telling me he hates you.
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying.
He never told me that.
Okay, fine.
He must have hit it well.
Yeah, cool. No, he hit it very well. He hit it very well.
Why did you lean more into let's go do some work, let's learn combat sports? If chess is not available, for me to compete in, I'm going to go do this instead. Like, why not just sit around and pick your nose and cry?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of important lessons from my dad in the days I lived with him, but one of the things he was very, very good at, he had a few fundamental themes throughout our when we lived together throughout my childhood, and one of them was about excuses. So if I lost a chess game, for example, there was a chess tournament. It was 7 hours drive. We drove 7 hours. We stayed up all night. I stayed up with him. I played chess in the morning. I lost. I only had 2 hours sleep. And when I lost, I said, "Oh, because I was tired." And my dad made a very big point of saying, "Look, it doesn't matter if you were tired. Your excuse has fucking nothing to do with the win or the loss next to your name. You've lost now. No one's going to say he lost, but he was tired. They're going to say you lost." And this is the truth about excuses in general. Any excuse you can fabricate. Nobody cares. The universe doesn't care. Did you win or did you lose? Life is binary. Did you survive or not? If you come at me and say, "Oh, I'm fat because X, Y, Z," the girl in the club isn't going to be like, "Oh, well, he's out of shape, but it's okay because X, Y, Z." You're just fat. It's binary. Life's binary. So you have to make a conscious decision. Excuses don't exist. They don't have any weight. They don't matter to anyone else. So why should they matter to you? And as soon as you realize that all that matters is the result, and you have to be binary about your decisions, then you're going to start throwing all that crap away. And I understood that from a very, very young age. So even when I was a teenager in England and I decided I wanted to be successful, I didn't sit and go, "I want to be successful, but I'm in a single room in a homeless hostel, single mother." I just knew I wanted to be successful. People are either going to view me successful or not. They're not going to care about anything else. So if they're not going to care, I didn't care. It didn't enter my mind at any point. I didn't let it cloud my vision, if that makes sense. It never entered my mind. This is my situation. This is my scenario. So I have to do what I can do, and that was it.
I thank the Lord above I had the father I had. So when I got moved up 3 grades in school, they moved me up because in the SATs it was like 400 questions and I got 2 wrong. And my dad gave me $20 and then he took $5 back for the 2 I got wrong, 5 each. So I had $10 total. And his lesson was, you still got 2 wrong. He was a perfectionist. Now, why was he a perfectionist? Well, it's because he was a chess grandmaster. And in chess, it's perfection or you lose. Why did I become a 4-time kickboxing world champion? Well, because it's perfection or you lose. There is no, it's okay to be there's no sloppiness in fighting. 1 shot, it's over. Same thing with chess. There's no sloppy. You lose control of 1 square, the game's over. I've lived in a perfectionist realm since the dawn of time. So my whole entire life has been a perfectionist life. This is how I view my life, and I don't think any other way to accept the world is okay. I don't think it's okay to be okay with losing or okay with less than the best. I don't think any of that's acceptable.
I guess I was kind of fortunate from a young age. So I always knew that the Matrix was coming and that the system is designed to oppress. The people who make the rules do not make the rules for the benefit of us. They make the rules for the benefit of the people who make the rules. And I knew that. And I think every person intrinsically knows that. Like if it's 4 a.m. and you're sitting in a gas station and a Lambo pulls up, you're probably thinking drug dealer or criminal. You're not thinking, "Oh, he definitely went to school."
Yeah.
No, so everyone knows this, right?
That's true.
So you have to find a way to escape the Matrix to some degree.
Wait, let me stop you. When you say you intrinsically knew this, I feel like a lot of people would assume that somebody is giving you some guidance too. Like, did you have somebody that was, kind of laying some of this out to you, like a male figure that was informing you a bit?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to have the most fantastic father on the planet. So my dad did make a lot of things very clear to me from a young age. My father was a chess grandmaster, and he was a nomadic individual. So he lived in a car or in random hotels and floated around the world playing chess.
Man, these chess grandmasters are all like so smart that becomes like a common thing.
They're so smart that they're socially weird.
Yeah.
So like my father was socially strange, but he was a genius. And on top of that, he's like a 6'4" black dude. So it's very unusual, like a chess grandmaster, but he's also physically intimidating.
Yeah.
But he's also socially weird. So he's a kind of weird guy to be around.
Yeah.
But he was nomadic, and he was just hustling. Sometimes he'd have to go down the local chess park and just hustle for dollars to eat. And other times he's beating grandmasters for 20, 30 grand paychecks. So it's kind of, it was an interesting life. And he taught me a lot about the fact that the system is absolutely broken. It's designed to oppress, and that the majority of people who stick to the rules are going to lose.
My dad was all about maximum risk. That's all he was about. Like my dad would go to the park, hustle money out of the people in the park, get enough to go to the tournament, win 10 G's in a chess tournament, the only money he had in the world, and walk straight into the casino. Like that's
with that money he won.
Yeah. And he's like, look, I want 50 grand or we're broke. If I need another $50 for food, we'll go back to the park. He was all or nothing. He was he adored the idea of being hard to kill. That was his thing to say. I ain't going to die. I'm hard to kill. He didn't care about like earthly goods and stuff. And I'm the opposite, but in some ways, because I have my nice big house and my nice cars, et cetera, et cetera. But from a very, very young age, I learned his mindset. And his mindset was, you know, you got to take the risk. You got to be that guy. And you also have to understand that failure really, in many cases, isn't going to kill you. There are certain scenarios where it will, but in the scenarios where it won't, you need to have more bravery. A lot of people out here are talking about, oh, you know, I'm worried if I move to, what the worst happens if you move somewhere? You move home. Like, what's the problem? My dad was a really unique guy, right? Because he's a chess master, but the chess scene is obviously, you got a bunch of autistic guys, a bunch of guys who are like math nerds. You got a bunch of ex-KGB guys at the time. And then you got my dad, who was a big black dude, but also a chess master, right? So it was kind of weird where he had this.
Your dad's black?
Yeah. I know I don't really look it, but my
what the fuck is your?
Listen,
Yo, is this shit real?
Yeah. So my dad's dad was black.
You're not black?
My dad's dad was black. My dad's mother was half black. My mother's white Irish, so I'm like a third. So I got just enough. I can drink the Henny.
You're technically black, then.
I got the hands. Like I've got. Don't worry, I got the genetic gifts, my friend. But, you know, I got what I need. I'm like Daywalker, Blade. Like they don't really see.
What's your finest guy?
So my dad is this big black guy in this chess scene. So I kind of grew up around a bunch of geniuses, and I also grew up around my dad being the physical specimen of the geniuses.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a strange dynamic, and I learned a lot about power dynamics even at a young age, right? Because
what'd you learn?
I learned that if you have a status or if you have a certain degree of presence as a man, then you're going to be treated differently. Then I learned a lot about my dad's presence. My dad would walk up to a chess tournament 3 hours late, and they'd be like, "It's closed, Emory. It's cut off." He said, "Not for me, no." And this little door could be and just shit himself and let me. My dad was like that. He was just like a big. You have to imagine a gangster who plays chess.
Yeah, no.
Kind of a weird juxtaposition, but that's how he was.
I had a lot of important lessons from my dad. One of the things he was very, very good at, he had a few fundamental themes throughout our when we lived together throughout my childhood, and one of them was about excuses. If I lost a chess game, for example, there was a chess tournament. It was 7 hours drive. We drove 7 hours. We stayed up all night. I stayed up with him. I played chess in the morning. I lost. I only had 2 hours sleep. And when I lost, I said, "Oh, because I was tired." My dad made a very big point of saying, "Look, it doesn't matter if you were tired. Your excuse has fucking nothing to do with the win or the loss next to your name. You've lost now. No one's going to say he lost, but he was tired. They're going to say you lost."
So anyway, back to the life story. So I grew up around that. That was my father. And I started playing chess at a young age. So when I was 5, I was state chess champion for Indiana in the under 15s. I remember I beat a 15-year-old when I was 5 years old. I remember walking down there.
Really?
I remember walking down there with my dad to the Indiana state champs. And I got to it was the final game. I remember walking down there being super nervous. And I remember when I won, the 15-year-old cried. And that made me happy. I was so happy. Not that I won, that made that fucker cry.
You're 5.
I was 5, yeah. So I was the youngest ever state chess champion in Indiana. You can verify this as well. That's what I was doing. I learned from my father.
Is it even feasible that you're doing this at 5?
Yeah, bro, 5, man. There's grandma. There's
Chris, can we get a Google or something going? You're fucking 5?
I was 5. Yeah, it's on my Instagram. If you scroll to my Instagram, you'll see a newspaper clipping of me playing some other kids. But it was only the children's, right? Under 15s, but I was 5 years old. So I was on my way to be a chess champion myself. And then, but even after I won that, I said to my father, my father said, "Look, we're taking 3 weeks off chess. You're going to go boxing, you're going to go karate, all these things." He goes, "You're going to be a fucking nerd." So my father also was very, very understanding of the breadth of life and how lots of different attributes. If you have
if you're 80% in lots of different areas, they can all work together and they can almost amplify each other, right?
Yeah.
So there's no point. Okay, you can be smart and be a complete dork, or you can be 10% less smart than that dork, but you're also a G physically and socially. That's far better than just being smart.
Yeah.
It's the combination of assets. So my father said, yeah, you're going to be smart. Of course, you're going to be a chess player, of course, but you're going to have all these other assets and attributes about you. I was trained from a young age. My father instilled me with duty in the bloodline. From a very young age, he told me you were going to be the man. That's what you were going to be. You're going to be able to do this and this and this and this. It was very purposeful and it was very trained.